Welcome to Monster Man.
Belfry.
That was
I'm not feeling free in the Belfry.
there was one cooped up arg.
Feeling trapped. Get me out!
Well, everybody, welcome to the Ask the Monster Men Anything show.
Is this the first time we've done this?
We did one, but we didn't publish it because it didn't come out so good, and I was like, we're not using that one.
You know, it's funny because the whole day I'm thinking, I swear this isn't the first time we've done it. Okay, right. We did do it. It just didn't make it.
It just was, didn't cut the mustard.
One of the lost episodes.
And God knows if I even have the recording anymore. I just remember watching back and going, no, I don't think we had a couple of good questions, but we have great questions this week. I didn't see all of them, but
let me tell you, you people came through in spades. In fact, I put off taking my Klonopin for the night just so I am hyper coherent to answer these questions.
Excellent.
Because Lord knows I've got to watch Veronica tonight, and I want to be high.
I watched it today, so this will probably come out. This will come out after we have done the Final Guys episode, where we review this. So if you're watching this now, go back and listen to Final Guys, and you can see what we thought of Veronica.
That's right. It's like cross episodes.
Yeah, it's the crossover.
This is the before Veronica.
So you're better spoken than I am. So you read the questions.
Very rarely said. Okay. Okay.
And then we can both answer them. I don't necessarily have to answer them first all the time, just because you're reading them. But go back and forth. Like if you're reading it, and you got something hot, go for it. If you want to throw it to me first, or we can work out the answer together.
Well, here we go. We're going to work this out together. This is from my man, Rich Duncan of Ink Heist podcast. Who are your favorite modern horror directors? All right, there. I think we probably agree maybe on Mike Flanagan.
Flanagan immediately comes to mind. And I would say Ari Aster would also come to mind.
Well, right now, yeah. Flanagan, to me, he's got a bigger body of work.
Yep.
And I enjoy what he's done more. But artistically and stylistically, Ari Aster's amazing.
Yeah, I think Flanagan's body of work is great. What's he got? He did Dr. Sleep, Hush, Gerald's Game,
Hill House,
the Ouija movie that was good, Oculus, which I only saw once.
Yeah, me too, in the theater.
I saw it on a plane, so I really need to rewatch it.
Yeah, you do.
Also, Karen Gillan, or whatever her name is, from Guardians of the Galaxy's in that, and I didn't even realize it when I was watching it.
Really?
Yeah, it's Nebula. Not Nebula. The blue.
Yeah, the blue girl.
She's gorgeous. She's all covered up in the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know who else? Robert Eggers? The guy who did the Witch. And I wasn't a huge fan of The Lighthouse, but again, same thing like Midsummer. I think is a great movie. I have no overwhelming desire to watch it a million times, but I love with it. Same thing with The Lighthouse. I'm like, I don't ever really need to watch that movie again, but it sticks with you, and it's a piece of art. So those three guys are. I think Flanagan's the most mainstream safe.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Eggers is definitely in his own world, which is cool.
Now somebody else, the guy who did the best Annabelle movie, the Annabelle Comes Home or something. He's doing the new Salem's Lot remake, and I kind of wish Flanagan was doing it because he did such a good job with Dr. Sleep.
Well, we wish Flanagan would just do everything.
Yes,
at this point. But to me, usually you have to have like 3 movies under your belt. But I'll take 2 with Ari Aster only because of the quality of those 2.
Hereditary is one of my favorite movies. I think I've seen it twice, and I'm probably going to watch it again under quarantine. Yeah.
That's your kind of girl right there. All right, here we go. You ready for another one?
Yeah.
John Kilgallen. Love that name. Do you guys believe there will ever be a decent remake of a classic Universal monster? If so, which monster would you want to see? That is so easy for me.
Well, first of all, was The Invisible Man a remake or a
reimagining?
Reimagining, because that was a pretty good swing.
Yeah, I thought that was for a monster, like a monster you can see. I mean, to me, I was excited for Creature from the Black Lagoon when I think Scarlett Johansson was tied to the project. And, we had The Shape of Water, but that, to me, Guillermo del Toro, another great director. That went in such a bizarre direction. That's not what I wanted.
I enjoyed it. If you could do Creature from the Black Lagoon with that creature.
Yes, that'd be great. So yeah. I think someone's going to do that, though, because I noticed when you go to conventions, there's a lot of creature stuff the last few years. So I think there's a groundswell.
I don't think I need any more Frankenstein. I know you're going to say, shut up, there's a million Draculas.
Really?
But, I just feel like that story, I don't need... vampires in general, you can do so many different ways. Rebuilding a body... you have plenty of good Frankenstein. I don't know if I ever need another one of those. I'd love to see a great Dracula movie made right. The Netflix Dracula 2 out of 3 episodes were great, and then they kind of dropped the ball.
And that's why I didn't watch it.
But Phantom of the Opera, I don't really...
Phantom of the Opera.
And again, you hold out hope that the Wolfman should be the one that they could knock out of the park.
For some reason, they don't. I don't know.
So that might be the one. If you were to say to me, pick a Universal monster and remake it, I probably would pick the Wolfman.
All right, Wolfman creature. Not bad.
Wolfman Jack. Yeah, baby.
Give me a ride, baby. All right, from Jerry Mulcahy. He's the man who has made our logo. And lots of other things. If you could visit any paranormal location in the world, where would it be and why?
I would love to hear your answer to this. The 2 that jump to my mind would be the Stanley Hotel and that St. Augustine Lighthouse that Ghost Hunters went to, where they saw the thing look over the...
That was the wildest episode ever of Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
By far.
Now, I don't trust ghost paranormal shows a whole lot, but that episode had me.
Hey, we looked them in the eye and asked them about that episode.
It's true.
Jason
we did.
Hawes was pretty honest with us, we think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is necessarily paranormal. I would love to go to Easter Island.
Oh, that reminds me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'd love to go to where Jimmy Page lived on Loch Ness. That used to be Aleister Crowley's house.
Oh, Aleister Crowley's house on the loch. That would be...
That it burned down and is supposedly cursed. And it's in the I think they show it in The Song Remains the Same briefly.
Right.
But yeah, just a place where all that would be...
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then they were at Loch Ness, so you kill 2 birds with one stone. You sacrificed 2 birds with one stone.
We just got an invitation to go to Scotland at the end of the year. But I don't like flying. So hopefully, someone who's quarantined can invent teleportation.
Bamf.
Yeah, I'm just going to hang on.
Any haunted places you can think of?
I guess Waverly Hills I'd like to go to.
Yes. You know where I'd like to go that we've already been? I'd love to go back to the Easton Union Cemetery, but I'd like to go at night, where you're not allowed to be there at night. Imagine if we could go back and do another show where we actually are looking for the White Lady at night.
That would be awesome. You know what I would like? I would like to get like a genuine current haunted house. Maybe it's not something in the public eye, and live in it for 6 months with the people who are in there, because I believe that hauntings are tied more to the living than the structure. So that would be my ideal situation if I could find that.
There's a lighthouse in Connecticut. I can't remember what it's called. It's supposed to be haunted. And I think supposedly during the summer or something, you can get a permit and camp there or something. I was going to talk to you about doing that sometime. I'm going to find out.
Dude,
We could stay 6 feet apart.
Gotta get by then we can cuddle together in a tandem sleeping bag. All right, but this was my favorite question. This comes to us from Norm Hendricks.
Norm.
Is Frankenstein a Jewish name?
Frankenstein?
He was my boyfriend. I looked this up, by the way.
Oh.
So it is Ashkenazi Jewish name, Germanic. So yes, it's it is. And we found out my wife is like half Ashkenazi Jew. So now I feel like I'm part of the Frankenstein family.
That is spectacular, because I don't think I had a funny comeback that I would have felt comfortable saying without offending people.
That's why I did the research on this one. I figured, let's just cover our bases. Let's not offend anybody, because that's usually my job. And I'm sober tonight, so I'm not going to offend anybody. All right. Here's a man at this is on his Twitter handle, at Djerra5, DJERRA5, if you want to stalk him. He asks, do you see any coming trends in horror, monster focus, back to slashers, or more of quiet people walking around? God, I hope not. Oh, that's you know what? At one point, I swear to God, I thought witches was going to be the thing, and it didn't happen. It kind of sputtered out.
I bet you that the next crop of horror movies that we see, what's going on right now is going to spill over into it. So whether we're going to see infection movies in the next couple of years.
Yeah, so we're still staying post-apocalyptic, but instead of zombies, we just might have utter despair.
It could be zombies, it could be viruses, but I think this will spill over. And I also think we've seen it a little bit in that there's elevated horror, kind of like the stuff we were talking about with The Witch. And every year there's one or two of these movies that is a horror movie but gets legit anything Jordan Peele does, Midsummer, that kind of stuff. I think there's that street level starter horror that like the Conjuring movies are, that's like popcorn movies. Then you get something like The Witch that suddenly, or Get Out, that's like the elevated horror. That I think that's kind of a trend, and I like that trend because it's
I hope that trend stays, because it's like real, it's art house horror in a lot of ways, but it's horror made by people with just some incredible skill and storytelling abilities, and unique, very unique stories.
It's almost like they'll say like the Marvel movies, they go, oh well, Captain America was a political spy movie with superheroes, or Spider-Man was a teen comedy with superheroes. It's almost like these movies are quality movies that happen to be horror.
Right. I'm interested to see what Oz Perkins does next, because I really like The Black Coat's Daughter, but he's the master of the stillness of the horror within the quiet.
Yeah,
that just can't be too quiet.
Gretel and Hansel wasn't crazy about, but again, something interesting. So.
Dude, I had such a hard time staying awake in that movie. And I was in the theater, but it was one of those ones that those big reclining leather couches. I was like, oh, yeah, this is gonna be rough.
Yeah, I remember halfway through it, I'm just going, wow, a lot of the stuff in the trailer happened in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Okay. We'll go with at ChuckWD73. I guess this is to me. Do you ever come up with anything too brutal and decided not to use it in your novels that leaves you wondering where that idea even came from? Dude, I have given up wondering where these things come from a long time ago. It's just something, I don't know, wrong. Exposure to too many bad things at too young an age. Of course, there are a lot of things that I've, in the course of writing a book, that have been either too brutal or so strange. I'm like, that's probably going to take away from the story. But the one time I put every impulse in was my novella, I Kill in Peace. Because that was, I mean, you're watching a 5-year-old boy blow his dad. There's attacks on Muslims. I just went for broke on that damn thing. And I figured it wouldn't get published. I figured my editor would say, that's nice. Go back. But he took it all.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder where your your line is. Like, do you write stuff and then pull it off and go, nah, that's too far?
It's very rare. Honestly, I have no line, and I appreciate people who push the line. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I hear other horror reviewers, and they get a little too hipstery sensitive about stuff. I'm like, it's fucking horror. Let it go. It's supposed to like jar. And unfortunately, we are so dull to every. All right, from Todd D. Wilson came to us from Facebook. What, in your opinion, is the last great original monster to come out of Hollywood for the big screen?
I got one.
I want to hear you. I have one popped in my head right away.
The one that popped in my head was The Host, the monster from The Host.
Really? That's a great monster. All right, that's cool.
Very cool.
Was that ever on the big screen? It was probably on the big screen.
It's not exactly Hollywood. It's Korean.
Just a little left of Hollywood.
A little left. If I was going to go Hollywood, maybe The Quiet Place monster is kind of cool. What do you got?
I thought of those monsters in the caves in The Descent.
Oh, those are pretty cool.
Those things freaked me out. I mean, completely freaked me out.
Part of the power of those monsters is the claustrophobia and it's almost like Jaws where you can't see your feet.
Yeah, they're also very gooey. Very pale and gooey. I don't like that. I thought for sure you were going to say Cloverfield.
Oh, I jotted that down. I thought what I love about the Cloverfield monster is how you kept getting glimpses of it and you couldn't figure out what it looked like because it was so weird looking. So it would just go behind a building. You're like, was that a leg? What the hell was that?
Yeah, it took a while to piece it all together. Like, oh, God. I think I'd rather have coronavirus than that thing. Oh, Jack, this one is perfect for you. Again, from our man, Jerry Mulcahy. Some people sent in multiple questions, and we love you for it.
Jerry's the best.
What are your views on psychics and mediums?
I am skeptical of most psychics and mediums.
Especially since you read that book. What's that book that you read?
I don't have the name of it off the top of my head, but I have read basically the playbook on how cold readings happen. Watch the Penn and Teller bullshit episode of their TV show about speaking to the dead. I saw John Edward live, and I was like, "This guy's full of it."
Boy, where is he now?
Yeah, and so look, the history is full of people pulling one over on other people in this industry. So I'm gonna say 98% of the people out there are faking it, but I will give the benefit of the doubt that there may be people out there doing things to amazing, but I think there's the vague nature of the answers that these people are giving other people, and the fact that people want to hear what they want to hear so bad feeds the whole charade.
I just finished reading a book by John Keel, he of the Mothman Prophecies, and this is he wrote in 1974, The Eighth Tower, about this kind of like super intelligence that literally everything paranormal comes from there, and talking about how that affects psychics and stuff like that. I thought the book's fascinating, and it's funny because you read it and it sounds so modern. Like he was literally predicting things in 74, saying it will be commonplace by the turn of the century, and was completely right, which I thought was interesting coming from a reporter. But look, I don't know. Weird stuff happens, and I think just by the theory that there are probably multiple universes and time is not what we think it is. It's not a linear thing. I think sometimes people can grab bits floating through us, and some are more attuned to it than others. Like my grandmother was a psychic who used to do table raising and all kinds of stuff. She didn't charge anybody for it. She just did it when they were living out in Rhode Island in the summers, and scared the hell out of my grandpa, who built a house on his own with his own two hands just to have some place to stay when she was doing this stuff with her friends. So I don't know. the family swears she looked like Mrs. Butterworth, the kindest woman on earth. So I'll believe Grandma.
If there's a stack of pancakes and syrup involved, sign me up.
Hey, when I was 16 or 17, she had said to my mother, I had a vision, Kevin's going to marry a woman in a wheelchair. And I married a handicapped woman, which was not revealed to me until after that marriage. So
there you go.
Who knows? All right. From our cult leader over at the Final Guys, Pam Morris. Wow, that's a good question. What's the first horror movie you remember watching?
I don't have one specific horror movie I remember as the first one.
The first thing because I watched horror from birth. So it was always, but I think the first one that stuck with me was The Night Stalker.
I feel like I saw other stuff before The Night Stalker, though, because I already loved that kind of stuff. So I think it had to be like Hammer movies on late at night, or maybe some Universal Monster stuff that was on. Maybe I didn't see the whole movie. I just saw parts of it. But I would say also these TV movies, because we grew up, we were little kids. They had horror movies that were on like Channel 7.
Yeah. I know. I mean, we watched them all. So maybe The Exorcist might have been the first. I think it was 4 or 5. And this dovetails in the other question about why these weird things come up in my head. For crap like that. Child abuse. She also asks, has any horror book ever truly, that's in capital letters, scared you to the point you had to set it aside, even just temporarily?
No. I would say the only thing I ever read that unnerved me was Pet Sematary. And I was like in junior high school.
I was going to say the exact. Pet Sematary is the only book that really gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Now, you've read a hell of a lot more books than I have, so maybe you could tell me a book that, like, oh, dude, this will... But I've never been scared reading a book. I've been excited to see what happens next. But
right. You know what's funny? Some books, if I'm reading them and I'm really into them, and if something happens around me, I'll jump, which is cool. That means the writing sucked me in where I forgot the world outside. But I've always been able to just, in my head, truly enjoy a horror movie or a book for what it is, but just go, it's fake.
Yeah.
Although I will say American Psycho unnerved me. I actually couldn't finish that book.
No, I never read it.
That was way too deep into the mind of a freaking lunatic. So anytime we like to joke, I'm psycho, you ain't, unless you're thinking like this person. So that's the one book I had to put aside and never picked up again. Just didn't want to be in that headspace. Dallas Ray Kitchens. This is very apropos right now. Here's a question. Do you think this is the end of the world?
Sometimes I do.
Sometimes I wish for it.
Well, listen, before we hit record on this, we were chatting about this virus situation and the Russian roulette nature of it, and how, it's only going to affect the elderly, and then you hear about a 30-year-old person who died of it who lived 5 miles from you.
Right.
So, if I'm one of the people that gets it and it gets me, it's the end of the world for me.
It's the end of your world, that's for sure.
So, in that sense, who knows? The other thing is, I don't know how much news I'm watching is accurate. I don't know how much anybody really knows about what's going on. We all keep thinking that in a year or so there's going to be a vaccine to this thing. Nobody really knows that for sure. So,
yeah,
maybe.
I'm going to say what you need to do. You need to find somebody who had it, was cured, and then take their blood and just drink from it freely, daily.
Like Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, just get their antibodies, get that plasma in your gut. Should be fine. I will say this. For those who are freaking out, the Spanish flu in 1918 claimed up to 50 million lives around the world. And it was immediately followed by the Roaring 20s. So I kind of believe I don't think we're going to lose 50 million people. I don't think we're even going to lose 5 million people. I don't even think we're going to lose 1 million people around the world. I think we're going to be fine. And if we just don't go back to the way things were, because if you really think the way things were so great, your head was so far up your ass you couldn't see the light of day. So maybe this gives us a chance to just reset. Maybe it's a good thing.
I will say one thing: the break we're giving the environment is not a bad thing, because when you see those satellite photos of how the pollution's gone down and everything, maybe we'll learn some things from that.
We can only hope. All right, this one is coming from MB. Love that. He's at author fan on Twitter. Before the web, DVDs, and Blu-rays, what is the hardest hard to find film you've ever encountered? Me, it was The Boogans. Took me years to finally see it, which we just watched. We did a live viewing of The Boogans a couple of weeks ago. What's a movie that took you forever to find?
The Poughkeepsie tapes.
Oh my God. You're right.
I heard about that forever, and then finally I tracked it down on YouTube, but it wasn't like you had to search because it wasn't like named the Poughkeepsie tapes. It was you started with the Poughkeepsie tapes or found footage of something, and then I remember finally getting it and being like, oh, I got the Holy Grail. Now it's on Amazon Prime and I have the Blu-ray, but
yeah, I've owned the Blu-ray. I've gone to see it in a theater where it was remastered. And you know what? Creeps me the hell out every time.
There's a movie that creeps me out.
My daughter, who's pretty hardcore, will never watch that movie again. And my wife, too. I showed it to her finally, and she was like, don't ever put that in. I was like, okay.
That's another one I'm probably going to rewatch. We're talking, I want to rewatch Hereditary. That's probably one I'm going to rewatch. But every time I watch it, I feel like I need a shower afterwards.
Oh, gosh, so bad. I just want to shave my pubes and bathe myself in scalding water. Old movie, Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, I watched that with you.
Yeah, I mean, it took me till what? When did we watch it? Maybe 2010? Yeah. Something like that? It took us a long time to get a hold of that. I don't know why. And the last broadcast. That was another one.
Yeah, that's another one I tracked down on YouTube.
And now that's on, I think, Shudder or Prime. Prime's got it, yeah. Yeah. That was cool to see it.
Those were like the ones you just heard whispers about. Like, oh, there's this movie, The Blast Broadcast. It was before the Blair Witch Project.
I will say there is a movie that I saw in the drive-in, and then I got it on VHS. I rented it, and then I forgot to return it, and then the video store sued me. So stupid. Humongous.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see Humongous again, and I have not been able to find it.
A quick story for you. When I lived up in Mass, so this is going back quite a while, I met somebody through work, and we were talking about vampires because they had a portfolio with them, and they had done some artwork, and I was like, that looks like Vampire Hunter D. And they're like, that's exactly what it is. How do you know what that is? It's like, oh, I'm a love horror. And I mentioned the PBS Dracula that I love so much. And
right.
This was like VCR days. This woman got me a VCR copy of that, so I hadn't seen that since I was a kid, and suddenly I had a videotape of it. That was gold. And now I have it on DVD. But I just remember watching it and just being like, oh my God, this was one of the pivotal things I watched as a kid. And now I have the videotape because you couldn't find that anywhere.
No, I'd love to watch that again.
I'll lend it to you.
I want to lay on your couch and watch it while you go sit in the kitchen.
Yeah. When we have our front porch 6 foot away sessions, I'll put it on.
Yeah. Can you bring a TV out to the porch or put it in the window?
You know how people will put a screen outside around their pool or something and watch a movie?
Yeah.
The BBC Dracula is not really built for that kind of viewing.
Oh well. All right. This is going to be the question of the night. And let's be honest here. From Shane Douglas Keene. Are you guys both extremely well endowed? Is that why it's Monster Men? And Jack, will you please say motherfucker one goddamn time on the air? That's my Shane.
I've never met Shane, but I feel like I know him. I'm a big fan of his. He's one of my favorite people on Twitter, and I think he's hilarious. Both of the guys on Ink Heist, I really want to do a hangout with them.
Oh my God, that would be such fun.
And since this may be the end of the world, as we just said, Shane, for you, motherfucker!
I thought you're going to go full Californication. Motherfucker. That was close. And yeah, of course we're well endowed. I mean, Jesus Christ. Why do you think we do this? Why do you think our voices get so low?
Come on.
Yeah. That
ain't the Loch Ness Monster. Just happy to see
you. We're all sack, no twigs. This is, closely related to Shane. It's Laurel Hightower, our new best bud.
My new friend.
And see, this is where we're going to have to say you have 150 episodes to listen to because the answer's in there. I'd love to listen to some true life supernatural talk. What you guys have seen, what's a place you'd never visit because it's too creepy, or is it all fiction?
Well, there are plenty of places that I would love to go visit. I don't know if I've been somewhere that's been so... I've been more scared of, like, people and cops.
At this age, yeah. Way more afraid
like
of
when
cops.
I went up to Danvers State Asylum. Now, the door was locked when we went, so we didn't get in, and it was nighttime, and we didn't have a flashlight. So if the door was open, and I was just looking in, go watch Session 9. This was the building from Session 9.
Yeah.
I imagine if that door was open, I would have thought, if I could get in, somebody else is already in there. Or there's a lot of rusty stuff that I'm going to step on, because I didn't even have a phone with a flashlight that time.
I would just think crazy homeless person.
Yes, I thought crazy druggies or whatever. So, but even just from a supernatural standpoint, being on the outside of the place, I was more worried about getting caught. But had I been inside, I think I probably would have been terrified.
Yeah, like J.H. Moncrief went to Poveglia Island by herself.
The bravest person I know.
Right, because you know what? I think even if you come into a place like, it's all fiction, it's all bull crap. I think once you get to some of these places, the weight of it, just the weight of time and abandonment, I think will wear on you after a while.
Your imagination starts to play with you.
And if you can walk through one of these places and be like you're walking through the park, then you have no imagination. And I'm sorry for you. Your life is bereft. Maybe hopefully there's another life for you and you can get something in your soul.
There are some places that, like, friends of mine have talked about, this person's house has a ghost in it, or that I'd love to go and spend some time there and see if I see anything.
My old house is empty. You can go in there. See if
every time I used to go to your house, like I used to tell you this all the time, I'd be looking around the corner of my eye. Like that.
The closest you ever came was that day you were coming. We were filming Monster Men, and I was vacuuming, and he went running past me in the living room in the daytime.
Yeah. Then I'm like, when's the last time you saw that kid? Like a half hour ago.
Exactly. I actually said out loud, I'm like, just stay. I said, please scare the hell out of Jack when he gets here. He didn't.
That would scare the crap out of me.
These ghosts don't listen. They just don't listen.
Still too heavy.
So yes, Laurel, I lived with a boy in our old place and wrote a book called The Waiting. Had to fictionalize it because Sam Hain was into fiction, but a lot of that. And then we found out just before we moved, and the woman who owned the house, out of the blue, just tells my daughter the story about her son's friend who died. He was impaled on a pole, I think, or something, when they were playing right by the house. Ooh. So I was like, oh, well, that's probably him. At least we know. And now he's there, and we're here. And there ain't nothing in here but my beer cans and my farts.
I would imagine there's plenty of places that would scare the crap out of both of us, and if we did a little digging, we'd find it. But we also are two people that want to go investigate places. And investigate may be too strong a word. We want to go visit these places.
I would love to live. I would like to have a career where, like, all right, everywhere I'm going to go, 6 months. I'm going to have to live in it. And if I'm alone, it's one thing. Like, I think if you and I were together, there's like safety in numbers. And also it's correlation. It's like, oh, did I hear that? Yeah, you heard that too. So I think together I could go just about anywhere.
Once this all blows over and we can go back out in public, we have said this before. If somebody who lived near us had a place that was supposedly haunted, if they would at least let us go spend a night in a place, that would be a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So if you know of a place, if you have a place, let us know. It can be just a cabin in the woods. Those are always safe, right?
I'll just read from this book I found in the basement.
Hopefully it's by a closed summer camp. All right, here's at Kevdo, D-O-E. He says, hi, Hunter, but I'm going to give this for both of us. If you could reboot / remake any horror film, what would it be?
Oh. We just talked about Universal ones. Reboot.
I think a movie I would love to remake and I think would go really well with the climate we're in now, They Live.
Yeah, my initial reaction when you said it is leave Roddy Piper alone. But I guess if you were going to do just a different take on it based on these days, yes, that's a...
Aliens, deep state controlling you with the media, and I think that movie is perfect for right now.
I heard that they're remaking. I said this on Final Guys. They're doing a reboot or a remake of Hellraiser, and I actually feel like that's a franchise that if you could get that into the hands of a good, like a Mike Flanagan or some of these more capable directors, and get it out of the gutters where it's been, and do it right, do something, you could make a really scary, heavy. I don't know if Jason Brandt and I were talking about this. I don't know if you were in the conversation. We're like, make a movie that's like 7 Hellraisers and each one focuses on a different deadly sin.
Oh, I had a concept for a Hellraiser because somebody was doing a contest and I just never got around to sending it in. It was wild. Like when you really think about Hellraiser, like the Cenobites and that backstory, you have thousands of years to play with. And you have time slips. It's endless what you could do. And it's scary, the gutter trash that series has become. Oh, sad.
How about a reboot of Basket Case?
Oh, Belial! You know what? But you're not going to get New York City right.
That's true.
That's the best part of Basket Case. Oh, there's Times Square. Yeah. I remember looking at hookers when I was 14, being offered meth and coke, going to peep shows. You know what? Nothing is better for a 14-year-old boy than a trip down to Times Square in 1982.
Yeah.
All right, let me go back to, here we go. Let's get another one from Rich Duncan. You get one horror acting icon in their prime to cast in a movie. Who is it and what sort of movie?
Okay. It's our show, so I can cheat a little bit. The initial reaction when I heard that, and I'm sure if I put some thought into this, I could come up with other people. I'd like to get Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and redo it, do a Dracula movie. That the Hammer movies, there's some great ones and there's some really schlocky ones. I'd love to get one or both of them with a really great director and a really great budget and do a great Dracula Van Helsing. So speaking of going back and remaking movies with those two, but with a budget and a good script, that, oh my God.
That's funny because we're both going way back. I would get Vincent Price.
Oh.
And I would want to see the most, and it's kind of hard to jack this up, the most outlandish, wild Dr. Phibes movie ever conceived. I love the abominable Dr. Phibes. And to see that, I'd just love to see that reimagined.
I'd like to see,
go for it. Go for broke.
I'd like to see him as the archaeologist guy from the Brady Bunch when he ties up Greg and Bobby and Peter in Hawaii. Oh, Oliver.
Scream. All right, so we would like to resurrect the old guys. I bet he thought we were going to go like, Ash or something like
Barbara
that.
Crampton.
Barbara Crampton's still in her prime.
Yeah. I would like From Beyond era Barbara Crampton in a movie with me called 50 Shades of Grey.
Well, at this point, it's going to be called your gray pubes. Let's go to the women. Audra Stinson, my Annie Wilkes. You better answer the cock-a-doodle question.
I'm going to have a mini Hershey bar while you're reading this.
All right, take your time. This is going to be a tough one. I know what Jason would say. What is the absolute worst movie, and I'm assuming horror, you have ever watched? Jeez.
Wow. Talking to two guys that watch a hell of a lot of bad horror movies.
See, Jason would say Winchester just because he likes to grind that into my soul.
I haven't watched Winchester.
Trust me, it's not as bad as he says it is. It's not good.
One of the few movies I've turned off was 976 Evil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was back in the 90s. I was remember watching it. Nah, I can't take this.
Oh, my God. God,
I've seen so many bad horror movies.
There's a terrible Bigfoot movie. You go ahead. I'm trying to look.
Did you ever see Blood Feast?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Back in that era, the video store era, there were so many of those kind of movies that you just got. Some of those Italian horror movies that you got, you're like, what am I watching?
Oh my God. I tried to watch that documentary, All the Colors of Giallo.
Oh,
because I'm like, you know what? Let me educate myself. I can only hear it in Italian. I can't get it off Italian. I was like, son of a bitch. There is a Bigfoot movie that I saw. It's Bigfoot versus an alien.
Bigfoot versus zombies was pretty bad.
Zombies. That was it. That was the ultimate. Hey, I got a $50 gift card at Party City. What should we do with it? Let's buy a zombie outfit and a Bigfoot outfit.
That's a good call. I would concur on that.
That might be one of the worst. And I love Bigfoot schlock, and this was a tough one. Yeah. I just kept going, do I hate myself? Why am I staying to the end?
Wait till you get through Veronica.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Let's see. Okay. Joaquim Oliveira, or Oliveira? I'm going to say Oliveira. Do you guys believe that horror movies, after Parasite winning the Oscars, will be more respected in a way when it comes to being recognized by the mainstream media and critics? I think we're in the, not just golden age, platinum age for that, for horror movies getting big ups.
Yeah, we just talked about the elevated horror, so I think some of these guys, like we said, the Jordan Peels, the Robert Eggers, and
Shape of Water wins for Best Picture.
Yeah, I think we're in this world where there's like these respectable horror movies or stuff like Come to Daddy.
Oh my god!
These awesome independent movies, Shape, whatever, the Color Out of Space, stuff like that. That like you and I are just like, wow, where are they hiding this stuff? Or like last year, what was it? There's a couple last year, like Villains and
love Villains.
The one where they all fell. All the one where they're all on the boat. Harpoon.
Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Yeah. There's some really great stuff. Then you've just got this mainstream crap like Truth or Dare, that is
Fantasy Island.
Yeah, that stuff. And Blumhouse pops out both of the stuff.
But I think you need that mix. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of everything. Like I want to see more movies like Tigers Are Not Afraid or Spring, movies that like hurt me emotionally. Final Girls. Those are three movies where I did cry in Tigers Are Not Afraid.
That's a hell of a movie.
I get choked up every time in Final Girls.
What's the one? Nightingale.
Oh, Nightingale. That's not just a gut punch. That just whacks your sack up into your throat.
That was the same person who did Babadook. I like that way more than the Babadook.
Yeah, I didn't. Look, I love I love the name. I like to say Babadook. I like the way it looks. Just the movie itself, I don't know. I think that kid irritated me so much. I just wanted to smack him.
I really enjoyed watching it once. I don't kind of need to go back to it.
No. All right. We're going to go back to Jerry Mulcahy, who's got this is a cryptid question. In fact, he starts it like this. Cryptids. This question's awesome.
Cryptids.
How does the morality of killing a Sasquatch, humanoid cryptid, versus a chupacabra, non-humanoid cryptid, compare to killing any other known animals like elephants, great apes, or endangered species just to prove it exists? Wow.
Well,
let me get Lauren Coleman on the line. Hold on a second. And Dr. Jeff Meldrum. They can help us out with this.
No cryptids are actually on the endangered species list.
I think there are some states. I think Washington has a you can't kill a Bigfoot law on the books.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I believe there's a few states that have kind of like a goofy no killing Sasquatch laws.
So the biggest question would be, is it worse to kill a fictional creature or a real creature? But if you believe that if you actually found a chupacabra, then yeah, why would you kill it and not catch it?
If it was sucking my goat, I would kill it.
That's true.
If it was sucking your goat, would kill it. Now, if it was sucking someone else's goat that I don't know, I just might let it go.
It really gets my goat.
I don't want him to get my goat or your goat, but he could get their goat. I could care less. Well, like with any animal, if it's coming at me, fair game. You can kill it.
Now,
but to kill it just so it exists?
A guy like Ted Nugent would kill it, but then he would eat it and use all the parts for it, and he would also like thank the animal after he killed it and do that whole ceremony.
Bring the heart into a sweat lodge with him.
Yeah, all that. So maybe if you treat it with the right respect and don't just waste it and putting a elephant tusk on the wall. If you're putting a Bigfoot foot on your wall, that's bad. But if it's, you're up in the your plane crash and it's between eating your soccer team or eating a Yeti, eat the Yeti.
Yeah, totally. I hear Yetis are pretty tough, though. A lot of dark, greasy meat.
Goalies, I hear, are very tasty.
Yowies are delicious. Yeah, it's a rough... it's like I almost... At this point, you kind of need a carcass to prove the existence of one of these things. So, is it worth it? I'm 50-50 on that.
If Bigfoot is attacking me, I will try and kill it.
Yes.
If he's just walking by, in this pose,
then it's fine. Walk on, Bigfoot, walk on.
Keep on trucking.
I don't think you should kill an animal just for the sake of killing an animal, but I have a little more sympathy for the bipedals that kind of look like humans over a chupacabra. You can blast a chupacabra away. I don't really care what you do.
Yeah.
Because I don't sense an intelligence in a chupacabra.
Feels like there's probably more chupacabras and you have to do like population control, like deer, whereas like Bigfoots are probably more rare.
You know what? If you read Reagan T. Butcher's chupacabra books, you will understand that they need to be killed. But it's weird because, the more you anthropomorphize an animal, the less likely I am to want it to die.
Yeah.
So
if it's got thumbs.
I have a giant bug zapper in my yard that's the size of a car. I'm trying to get a Mothman. I have yet to get one, but I'm trying. All the lights are flickering out in the town.
The neighborhood goes out.
Smells like fresh barbecue.
Got him.
I win. Oh, my God. That was a good question, Jerry. There's something good, important to ponder. I think, Jack, we might be out of questions because there's duplicates. So I kind of like combined and got
a couple
the best
here.
Of the best. You got more?
I forget who asked this. Might have been Rich. What kind of horror creeps you out the most?
Home invasion. It's the thing I fear the most in life. He says the day before he gets murdered.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this on one of our hangouts. Like when people cut their own hands and stuff like that, that always like gets me.
Oh, eye stuff. You can't have cut hands. I can't see eye stuff. Maybe a reason why I'm not a big fan of Italian horror because they seem to love to do a lot of shit to eyes. What's the matter with them?
Yeah, I guess along the lines of the home invasion, anything that you watch that you're like, oh, that could actually happen to me, like that. Maybe that's why shark movies are so effective, because then anytime you go in the water, you're like, what the hell am I doing in the water?
Unless it's a 5-headed shark, then if that's going to kill me.
Well, then Carmen Electra might be on your boat, so you're golden.
Exactly. Like Dr. Sleep, that scene when they were taking the steam out of the boy by torturing him.
Well, now, I was actually thinking about that. When there's violence to children, that's always like the okay. It's like
I agree. Let it go. Do it. But it makes me uncomfortable. But I like that feeling. Isn't that weird? I don't know.
Let me see if I got anything else.
We might have had people who wrote in questions, put them in the snail mail. He's checking the mailbag.
He's checking it twice.
I'm surprised people didn't ask us for like apocalypse recipes. Do we manscape? I was ready to answer anything, but it was all horror related, so there we go. We kept it in a safe zone, except for Shane's question. That was easy to answer.
Jerry's got one. With the proliferation of paranormal television shows, do they help to prove or disprove the existence of paranormal activity?
I think they're helping to disprove it.
Yeah, I would say that those TV shows. I've said this before. I remember being on the train and hearing people talking about paranormal and like, oh, I have evidence. They're calling just pictures evidence. They talk about orbs and stuff. They like they're scientists and they're just watching things. And there's so many articles about how those shows fake things because they need a TV show. So
because it's TV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are answering to a certain master that demands something from them. And I think there's been so many of them out there with hundreds of thousands of hours of footage at this point, and if there's nothing that's been so conclusive that the whole world is watching it, then I think it's doing a good job to say maybe there is no such thing, or it just can't be captured.
Rich Duncan had another question that I want to... is there a particular horror movie you guys fight about? One of you loves it and the other thinks it's garbage.
Greasy Strangler?
The one that came to mind when I read that was Mother.
Boy, have we fought over... Mother has caused a lot of issues. It has almost caused a divorce.
And my official feelings on Mother of this is I kept looking at my watch like, you got to be kidding, this is still going on. And I thought it was so pretentious and overly self-important. But I recognize the artistic merit of the movie. It's like, yes, it looks good. It's good filmmaking. But I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay. Whatever.
Oh. Jennifer Lawrence in every shot. First of all, for that alone, that should be enough.
Yes. Well,
what grinds my gears is I said, that's a long movie. And I sit through that movie and I drank a little too much. And I said, man, I got to pee. Like, I can't go now. I'm looking, wait 10 minutes. Oh, I can't go now. Like, there's so many, you keep waiting for the hammer to fall in this movie. And I couldn't, until to the point now I'm actually releasing some urine into my pants and it's time to go. I get up. When I come back, what do I miss? People eating the baby. Probably the craziest scene in the whole movie, which I had to go, and as soon as it came out on video, I had to fast forward and go, oh, there it is.
I forgot that even happens.
Oh my God, how can you forget that? Jesus.
I was so bored.
See, that's one right there.
There you go.
That's the biggest one. Did you like the Greasy Strangler?
I got a kick out of it.
All right. Whenever somebody asks me, hey man, you like horror, what do you think I should watch? Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to watch the Greasy Strangler at least once.
And then you'll never ask us for recommendations again. And if you do ask us for more, well, welcome. One of us, Google Gabble.
I think the term WTF was invented from somebody watching that movie.
It reminds me, I got to go take a shower at the car wash.
Yeah. But you see, like, that's one of those movies, though. Like, well, I can't say it's the greatest movie ever made. It was just so bizarre that it entertained me.
Whereas, it will stick with you forever.
There's other movies that you watch that are just bad.
Yeah, and bad movies, they're just bad, you tend to discard really easily.
Yeah.
It's like,
whereas Greasy Strangler, like, just the sheer bravery of the people and the nakedness in that movie.
Bravery of the nakedness. That's very true. Hey, man, shouldn't you work out before we start filming? Screw this.
Yeah.
I am who I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
I am what I am.
Well, listen, those were some great questions, man. I'm really happy with that.
That really was. I'm impressed we got through all of them and answered them.
Yeah.
Who knew?
We'll actually use this episode.
Yay! Watch this episode. Well, something will screw up technically. It'll be done. But I think, Jack, you posed a good question or a good proposal. You proposed a good proposal. We should see if we can get Shane and Rich on the show next.
That's a great idea. We should do a hangout with them.
I'm going to try that for the next one. How about that?
Excellent. All
How
right.
about that? All right. So.
Now, were you going to give away something or?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to give something away. We're all quarantined here right now. So this is what I want you to do. You're going to watch this episode. And you're going to say, holy God, best show ever. I'm going to subscribe. I want you to put a comment in the show. Anything you want. Just put a comment in there. And I'm going to pick a couple of people and give out some free books. So I will respond to your comment. I will tell you an email to come reach out to me so I can get you your gift. So
excellent. You said some of the people whose questions we used, you were going to.
Oh, yeah. That's first of all, a lot of them already have a lot of my stuff. But I'm also going to give stuff to them, too. So
excellent. Thanks, everybody.
Giving books away.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for the questions. Hunter, thank you for your answers.
Thank you, Chuck. It was great.
All right, everybody. Hopefully, we'll have a hangout with the Ink Heist guys soon. And other than that, we'll see you next time on
Monster Man.
Monster